Alright YouTube, in this video we're going to be covering some tips and tricks to help you improve and speed up your workflow inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. Now some of these tips and tricks are personal preference, so you can use them, not use them, or adapt some of them if you want to. Either way, I'm fine, like use them, don't use them, whatever. I'm easy. These tips range from beginner to pro. I hope at least one of them helps you out. Now, I'm on a PC, so for some of the shortcuts I'll be referring to Control or Alt. If you're on a Mac, you can use the equivalent. I think it's like Command and Option. I haven't used a Mac for about 3 years, so I've forgotten that information so that I can make room for remembering all of the names of the actors in Mr. Robot. Let's get into the first tip, which is bins and folders. For me, organization is as important as creativity, because without organization, I can't be as creative, because either I'm looking for files that I can't find or my workflow isn't as efficient as it should be. So for me, organization keeps my flow running smoothly, which means I can be more creative. So what I do is this. On one of my hard drives that I regularly use, I always have a folder called Example Project. Within that folder are all the sorts of folders that I normally use. They are all empty. So what I do with a new project is I take this example folder and I copy it into the destination where my new project is going to exist. Then I have all the folders that I'm going to use. I place all of my rushes, all of my assets, my audio, etc. into that folder, and then I can just simply select all of the ones that I want to take into Premiere and drag them in, drop them, and then those are nicely organized within Premiere, so I don't have to worry about then creating all new bins and organizing everything separately. I've already done all of that work. That level of organization saves me a bunch of time in the long run, because I can focus on being creative rather than searching for all the stuff, because I know where it is. Next tip, adjustment layers. Let's say you've got a bunch of clips in your sequence that you want to apply the same effect to, and you don't want to have to go through, apply it to one and then copy and paste it across all of the others, or use paste attributes or anything like that. What you can do is you can click on this little icon here and then choose adjustment layer. Click OK, and then you can drag it down here, make it the same length as all of your clips that you want to affect. You can add your effect. I'm going to add in lumetri color. I'm going to make it pretty extreme just so that you guys can see what's happening. Let's boost the contrast and let's boost the saturation just for the sake of argument. Then you can see all the clips after that are affected with the same adjustment layer. Turn it off, turn it on, all of those clips are affected. Let's also say, for example, we wanted to put some blur on it. For the sake of argument, we want all of these clips to have some blur on. We can drag camera blur there, and you can see straight away all of these clips now have the blur on. The adjustment layer will affect all of the clips beneath it. This one's a goodie, duplicating a clip. So you might have an edit where you think, I want to use the same shot twice, maybe once at the beginning, once at the end. So instead of copying and pasting that clip and going, oh, I want to put it here, but then I also want to put it over here, and so on and so forth, all you have to do is click Alt, drag that clip over, done. Exactly the same clip, duplicated, much quicker than a copy and paste. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like the idea of someone or something being left out, then this is a good one for you. Select all. If you've got a bunch of clips on your timeline and you're thinking, okay, what I need to do is I want to put a clip in between this one and this one. So what you might do is zoom out, select all of these clips, shift it over, drop in your new clip, and then shift everything back again. Instead of doing all of that, what we can do is you can hit A on your keyboard. It brings up these two arrows here. Then you can go, I'm going to select everything after these arrows just by clicking in the area of the clips that you want to move. Hit V to go back, and there you go. You've got everything to the right-hand side of that arrow. Let's say it's the other way around, where you want to put a clip in between this clip here and this clip here. You can hit Alt A and go bang and select everything to the left, hit V, shift it all over, drop your clip in, done. Now those are shortcuts that you might not have set up. Your system might be set up differently. I would suggest finding out what those shortcuts are for you and adding those into your workflow, because those are time savers. If you've got a machine that is struggling to keep up with the footage that you're shooting and you're getting some lag, then this is a good tip for you: proxies. There are two ways that you can create proxies in Premiere. Firstly, you can create them in your ingest settings when you first create your project by clicking on ingest, and then you can choose create proxies, and here you can change all of the settings as to however you want your proxy settings to be, and you can also choose wherever you want to save them. The second way of creating proxies is by highlighting the clips that you want to create proxies of, right-clicking and going down to Proxy, Create Proxies, and then that brings up a similar window. You can choose all of the settings. You can also choose where you want those to be saved, and then that will take those clips into Media Encoder, and that will create all of those proxies in the background. Now, those proxies are basically a low resolution version of your high res footage, which means your computer will be able to deal with that footage a lot easier. Your playback will be smoother. In order to enable those proxies, all you need to do is go into your program window and you'll see a little icon like this. If you don't see the icon, you can click on this blue button here, and then you can drag the icon, which is this sort of refresh looking one here, drag it into this bar, and then make sure, if you want to be toggling proxies on, make sure that it is blue. Not blue is off, blue is on. Proxies are a lifesaver if you don't have the fastest machine in the world. Here's a nifty little tip for changing your volume levels. So you've got an audio track and the volume level isn't quite right. You want to drop it by like 1 or 2 dB. You can go into your track and start to try and mess about with the volume and get it exact. But here's a better way to do it. If you just want to change it by 1 or 2 dB, you can hit your brackets, and that will change your volume. So if you hit square bracket open, it's going to drop your dB levels on your audio track by 1 dB at a time. And if you hit square bracket close, it's going to raise your volume by 1 dB at a time. This next tip is called don't click drag, press press. If you've got a clip and you want to take it and move it up a track, but you don't want it to be jumping around, you want to make sure that it was exactly where it was before, instead of clicking and dragging, you can simply have your clip highlighted and hit Alt up arrow to go up, or down arrow to move it 2 tracks down. Alt up and down for moving your clips up and down a track. Lovely. Here's how to have the same effect across numerous iterations of a clip without having to copy and paste using Master Effects. So all of these blue clips here are from one take. I've already been through and edited them, and I've put these screen recordings in between. So if I wanted to now grade them, for example, I could put my Lumetri color onto there, then copy and paste the Lumetri color onto each of these clips, or copy and paste attributes, but that's a bit annoying. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to grab Lumetri color and put it straight onto the proxy, and you can see that brings up this little red line here, which means we have applied a master effect to this clip. So let's say we go into our master effect and we change, for the sake of argument, we'll just make it look ridiculous so that we can see what we've done. We're going to whack the exposure up, whack the contrast up, whack the saturation up, and you can see that's affected that clip there, but it's also affected every single one of those clips from that take. And then if we wanted to, we could go into the master, turn it off, and you can see it's also turned it off on all of the clips after that as well. Another cool way we can use Master Effects is with audio. So say for example I wanted to put an effect on all of these audio tracks here without having to copy and paste it. So what we can do is we can go up to Window and make sure that we can see our audio track mixer. And then what we can do is we can add effects in here. So we want audio track 1, which is here. So let's say we wanted to add an amplify effect to all of these clips here on this audio track. If we click on this little arrow here, we get this menu, amplitude and compression, amplify. We can then double click on amplify and whack this up just for the sake of argument so that you can see what we've done. by a whole bunch of dB. And then let's hit play and you'll be able to see over here in the audio meters that has whacked up the volume on that. It'll have whacked up the volume on this one. It'll have whacked up the volume on every single one of those clips on that track. Big time saver rather than huge amount of copy and pasting. I really love a good shortcut, me, and this is one of my favorites. It's Q and W. Let's say you've made an edit, but then you want to get rid of everything before the playhead in this clip. Simply hit Q, bang, it's gone. Let's say you wanted to get rid of everything after the playhead at the end of this clip, and you wanted it to not, you didn't want to, have to drag and then select and then delete. Instead, what you can do, you choose exactly where you want your clip to end, hit W, and it gets rid of it for you. We started with organization, we're gonna finish with organization. This one is duplicate your sequences. This one is huge for me. If I've exported a video, I've sent it to a client and I've got feedback, including time codes. So for example, let's say they say on this one, we want to cut from 27 to the end of that clip. Let's use W to do that. But then they've got more feedback that says from 45 seconds onwards, so on and so forth. The problem with that is, because we've just made that cut, 45 seconds doesn't now line up with what the client has said. So what we need to do is, in our sequences, duplicate that, label it version 2, and then you can make all of the cuts that you want in your version 2, and you can use your version 1 for reference because it is completely exactly the same as the reference that you sent to the client. All of the time codes will match up. If you go through and are making changes on your version 1, the latter time codes after you've made those early changes won't line up, and you'll have to be opening your export to find out what it is that they're referring to in their time codes. So duplicate your sequences. I learnt it the hard way. Hopefully you won't have to. I hope you like this video. I know a lot of people say that at the end of their videos, but I really do hope you liked this video. If you want to see more tutorials, give me a shout. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments. Please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!